Going on, everybody? BobbyFi, Eric Sheets, Haber, and Jake Rohde. We are going to be talking through this large NFL slate. Lot going on. It's an interesting slate. I definitely am not quite sure where some of the projections are coming from, so I'm kind of interested to sort of see where people are at with that. One of the big ones is I don't even mind, but like I don't know, Kenneth Gain. There's just weird plays that I just feel like are projecting a little bit better, at least on SaberSim, than I would have expected. But yeah, Sheets, it's sort of like we talked about early this week. Like you got the spend ups at running back. And we don't really have like any clear cut. We've got a lot of speculative value, but not like crazy value that we're looking at anywhere. So curious to see your guys' thoughts on this slate. Sheets, any overall thoughts? And then we'll go to Rohde and before we get into play by play.
Yeah, I mean, I did look at this slate like several times, and I did a separate video like going through the projections and stuff and building kind of like high stakes stuff a couple of days ago. I put it up on the site with different ideas and things like that. And my comments were, on the one hand, there isn't a lot of like cheapo value or whatever. Yet on the other hand, you can get what you want to play. I think. I think, which to me means there's probably going to be some concentrated ownership and some pretty thin value. I think. We'll get to that when we get to it. But what I'm doing this week, I'm going to let SaberSim build the 150, the Millie Maker lottery, whatever. But I'm putting a little TLC into my big buy-ins this week, nice. And hand building a little bit and tweaking around. And there's one particular spot which I think is very, very well suited for late swap, depending on on how things shake out in the early games. We'll get to that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this slate. I did actually put a little more work into this than I usually do.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot. What I'm noticing is that a lot of afternoon slate games that I'm going to be high on, and I think you're going to have a lot of pivoting opportunities. Rohde, any overall thoughts before we get into positions and stacks and whatnot?
Yeah, I've been messing around with some stuff as well. This one, like if I want a couple spend up running backs and cheaper receivers, or like do one spend up running back, and then like the middle receivers seem decent. I don't know if I for sure like these value receivers that are out there today, but I'm getting some of the SaberSim is giving me some weird stuff like the cheaper quarterbacks, that mid tier quarterback range. We'll get into it, but like I'm getting some weird stuff from SaberSim too. So. Yeah, getting a lot of the mid-tier stuff. So there's a lot of different ways to go on this slate, I think.
Absolutely. I'm still even trying to figure out what my sort of flag plants and bold calls are going to be, but we'll start things off at quarterback. I'll go first, and then we'll go to Rohde, then Sheets to round it out. I'm interested. Like I like Jacoby Brissett today, but I feel like this is like, first of all, I feel like his ownership is going to be far higher than at least what SaberSim is projecting. I think he'll be the most popular quarterback, along with maybe Aaron Rodgers or Jared Goff. I'm still not entirely sure why those guys are quite watching. Maybe not Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Jared Goff, I guess would be the other one. But I do like Brissett. But in terms of the ones that I actually went out of my way to prioritize, it is Goff for me. I'm worried about his hand for sure. But I still think against Dallas with his receivers, it's hard not to be interested in Justin Herbert. I think Baker is interesting in that game. I guess of the morning guys, the ones I'm interested in are JJ McCarthy and Justin Herbert. Other than that, most of my plays are in the afternoon. Oh, and Tyler Shuck. Other than that, most of my plays are in the afternoon games, and that's sort of the way that I like to keep it. I have a little bit of Joe Burrow, but those are sort of my main guys. But I'm kind of spread out outside of Brissett and CJ Stroud right now. And to be honest, I don't love the CJ Stroud play at all. I just think there's so many ways they can win that game, but maybe they let the onslaught go. That's the only reason why I'm keeping some ownership in there. But I don't feel great about it. I think maybe I'd like to get to more of McCarthy, and I want to throw out that I will in my big buy-ins. Just I don't care if I have to play him naked. I'm going to have some Josh Allen stacks just because I think he's the only, or the Josh Allen shares just because I think he's the only one who can really break the slate. What about you, Rohde? And then we'll go to Sheets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm similar as what you said. Brissett's popping in on a SaberSim. I got like 5 guys actually, 10% or more, like 10 to 14%. So like CJ Stroud's the number 1 guy at 13. Then Brissett, then Tyler Shaw, then Joe Burrow, then Kirk Cousins. I'm getting a little bit of. I'm not getting as much Goff and not as much Herbert, around 3-4%. Might want to bump that up by the end of it, but Golf I do like today a lot. I mean, I'm sweating him. I need him in best ball. A couple lineups to move on. That'd be good. A good game from him. His stack's kind of expensive today. I think maybe that's why Sabersim doesn't like it a little bit. It's kind of expensive for the slate. We have some spend up spots we like today, and then Dak and Herbert are right in there that I like too in that game. So we'll see. I'm not getting a lot of JJ, but some of those cheap quarterbacks I do like. I do not mind, or like Gardner Minshew is another one. I know that's a kind of KC versus Tennessee, but he's played before. He chucks it a little bit. I know they don't have the greatest weapons there right now with Rice out, but I mean, if a cheap quarterback at 4,500, I like him maybe a little bit more than some of the other guys. So
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Actually, he was one I forgot to mention, but I do like that play, and he's going to get a tiny bit of ownership. I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
What are you getting to, Sheets?
So on DraftKings, I am getting my highest owned is Jacoby Brissett. Probably, I guess with the field, maybe like 23%. That sounds right. And I do I have him as one of the three guys that one of the 3 or 4 guys I'm interested in like big buy-ins and stuff. I do like him. I don't know exactly what I want to do as far as his receivers. We'll get to there when we get to there. But I like Tyler Shuck. He's the other guy I have most highly owned in Millie Maker stuff, and I do like him in big binds. I like him on big binds in FanDuel also. And then the next 2 guys I have over 10%. Or boy, I didn't think I would have him, but I am getting 15% of the Justin Herbert. I don't usually play this. I don't know whether I'm getting this because Keenan Allen is like popping, or I'm getting Keenan Allen because Herbert's pop, whatever it is. But I'm getting like 15% Justin Herbert, and then 10% or 11% Bo Nix. Like, so those are like the 4 guys I'm getting in Millie Maker stuff. But in big buy-ins, it's gonna be hard for me to not want to play Jared Goff, just because there's so many things I could do with that. I mean, listen, between Brissett and Goff in the late games, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can screw around there, not to mention Bo Nix, right? So I don't think it really matters who you play early, as long as you remain open to swapping them. But I agree with you conceptually, Bobby, is that the majority of the better plays are going to be coming from that game. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting as much McCarthy maybe as some people are. I think that I would want to get a little more Joe Burrow than I'm getting. And that's pretty much where I stand.
Yes, I mean, I'm surprised. I thought with your projections and looking at the early ones, and even with Goldie's too, I thought that McCarthy was going to be more popular than he is. So I actually was surprised, and I might actually do some. Doesn't feel great, but I think there's upside, and also you have the really cheap receiver pairings, which has got to be count for something. All right, running back, which is going to be a tough one. I'm going to let Rohde start this one off, then we'll go to Sheets, then I'll close it out. I think this is a tough position today, and there's some things that I just completely disagree with the projections on, and there's others that I think are just really, really good plays that might be a little bit under-owned. How about you, Rohde? What are you looking at?
Yeah, today running back is tough. We got maybe the 3 top guys like Bijan, Achane, and Gibbs are like the expensive running backs that you want in your lineup. I mean, those are the 3, like elite spots today. A couple other guys popping, like Aaron Jones at 5,200 is a good price tag today. I kind of see my builds getting more of him versus going the McCarthy route. So maybe it's tending to the running back side of it with him back today at 5,200 against the Giants, kind of like that. I'm getting some Kenneth Gainwell at 5,100 popping a little bit too. Pass catching backs getting a lot of work. Good against the Lions pass catching backs. I would say Lions give up to tight ends too. We'll get there later, but pass catching backs do decent against them as well. Then maybe like you can throw in like 5K David Montgomery a little bit too. I don't mind him getting a touchdown in your mix. Javonte Williams, another touchdown guy. You can get a Dallas run back in your Herbert stacks. You'll like that. So just some of those plays, and I'll let the other guys go. Those are some of the main guys I'm getting in some of my builds right now. So.
Yeah, I like those plays, and I really like the one that you mentioned with who did you mention that was super low owned that I liked? God, I'm trying to remember who it was.
Gainwell?
No, I know Gainwell's going to be really popular, I think.
Yeah, he's kind of popular.
But there was somebody else you mentioned.
Aaron Jones, David Montgomery's low owned.
David Montgomery, that's one that I think could be very sneaky, and I
David
actually
Montgomery's
a ton of him in my afternoon slate exposure.
I mean, he can get 2 touchdowns against Pitt too. I think Pitt's missing a bunch of guys on defense to know.
Yeah.
Watts outright and a couple other guys.
Yeah. It's a good
So they
spot.
could be a little more vulnerable today in the dome. It's a dome game we like. So
For sure. How about you, Sheets? What are you getting to?
Okay, so let's talk about these three guys at the top for a moment. So with Gibbs, A-Chain, and Bijan Robinson, I was very surprised earlier in the week, and I remain surprised later in the week about the projections here. I myself, like I said, I don't go deep into the weeds with these things. I wouldn't be able to separate these three, but for whatever reason, they have Bijan and Gibbs like projected like 5 points higher than A-Chain. Okay, and I actually don't get it. And it's filtering down to the ownership also. So let's just put it this way: you could play two of those three in most builds. I would just not settle for just Gibbs and Bijan. You know what I mean? I would definitely filter in A-Chain among those two. One thing about Gibbs, you just mentioned it yourself, Bobby. I mean, you're considering playing David Montgomery. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to score everything. And likewise, Bijan Robinson. Listen, he's awesome, but how many times have we seen Algier snipe stuff from him? I just think that with the Miami having a rookie quarterback or whatever, I think against Cincinnati, I just think it's like A-Chain City today. You know, I don't know what to say. So I'm going to probably make sure I have a decent amount of that and not just get too overweight on the top two. That's the top of the range. Now the bottom of the range, like the 5,200 guys or whatever. The guy who, again, you both kind of mentioned, and I knew you were going to be heading for this, Bobby, is where the hell did all this Kenneth Gainwell love come from, like all of a sudden, right? Beginning of the week, he wasn't really projected, although it's slowly but surely. And it's really funny because when I built my lineups on Wednesday, I did a lineup build thing of just big buying stuff. I noticed something is that he just fit in a lot of lineups that have that game stacked, okay? So like if you wanted to play like Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown or whatever, and you had these two freaking run backs on Pittsburgh, one of them being Metcalf, who's too cheap, and then the other one, who else can I play? The Gainwell 5,200 or whatever just slides right in there. It makes a lot of sense from a construction perspective. Now, again, if that is going to then translate to just exceedingly high ownership, then yeah, it's a little bit fishy. But the reason why I think is I was playing around with this stuff. If you were going to stack that game, it just slides in just so perfectly. Okay, so that is that, and I'm getting market weight right now of that, like 20%. But again, when you get to that late game and you see what else is going on, there's a lot of things that you could do with that. Like you don't have to play it that way. But if you want some, okay, so then we're gonna get back. I'm gonna get back to the 5,200 in a second. But the guy in the middle who's kind of getting into some builds is RJ Harvey from Denver. And I guess, like I said, like if I can get him in by hand like that, it's probably not difficult for everybody to get him in. So I think he's probably going to get some ownership. But so I am going to try to fly with a take that I had earlier this week, and again, just not 100%, not even 20 or whatever it is. But here's the philosophy. The philosophy is that teams really try hard all season long, and until they're kind of out of it. Once they're out of it, some teams like try right to the end of the season, but the thing that always goes first is the defense. Okay. And I've been saying this with the Jets like all year. Eventually they're going to give up a ton to somebody. And they did that to Jacksonville last week. So I posed this question to Bobby earlier this week for those who didn't see it. I mean, you could play a guy with like at the same price of these Gainwell guys who's had 100 rushing yards 2 weeks in a row. And that would be Tony Pollard for Tennessee. And he's playing Kansas City, who usually has a really good defense. But Tennessee is officially broken right now. I mean, like they're heartbroken. You know what I mean? Like forget that their team's broken.
You mean Kansas City?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Officially broken. You know what I mean? They're out of the playoffs the first time since the Eisenhower administration, right? There's literally no reason for anybody to put out their efforts anymore. And their big efforts, honestly, have been on defense this year. I don't even know if Chris Jones is playing for openers. But one thing about Tennessee, they try every week, and I think it's just like I don't know. I don't want to call my own play sharp, but I feel as though, given also the fact that Gainwell's going to get some ownership and all this stuff, I just think that Tony Pollard would be a good guy just to say, you know what, give me 10%, something like that in Millie Maker stuff. So that would be my kind of sort of hot take.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with that as a guy to take a shot on for sure. I definitely am going to be underweight Gainwell, but I know it's the afternoon, and there's so many guys you could choose in the same, like you have Carter, you know what I mean? You got Montgomery, as you mentioned. So yeah, you can decide all that. I really agree with what you said about A-Chain. I think that there is a little more risk for him than there is other guys, except for when you think about Mike McDaniel's playing for his job, and I think he's playing for something, and hopefully they can, keep that game close. And I think I think they should be able to.
They're like a favorite. What do you mean? It's like pick 'em or whatever.
No. Cincinnati's a pretty big favorite.
It's like 1 point.
Saberson's got him like 5.
Really?
4.5. Yeah, is the official line.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little higher. I think it was 6.5 earlier in the week. I don't know how it was, but it was. I swear that's what I was. But it's 4.5 now. Either way. Which is interesting. Yeah. So I mean, the highest owned for me are Robinson, Gibbs, but I do have just behind. I have A-Chain. I've got 25% of each of those guys, which is a little bit below the field probably. And then I've got A-Chain at like 17%. So I'm not that far behind with A-Chain. Okay. But he is going to be lower owned. I agree with that. I love Javonte Williams today, and I never loved Javonte Williams. Maybe it's my telling myself that Dallas can score on anybody, and it's going to be hard to score through the air in general on the Chargers. We've watched the teams try to do it. They literally can't do it. This is the best pass defense in the NFL. Now, Dallas can still do it, but I think Javonte Williams is the way Dallas goes today. So I really like Javonte Williams in the mid-tier. Another guy that we talked about earlier in this week that's going to get no love against a defense that I don't trust, Quentin Judkins. I think we should go back to him at low ownership. Going to have a wild, range of outcomes, but I like him a lot. I would prefer Harvey. Now he's a little more expensive, but even the coach speak, Sean Payton saying that he's very happy with the team, but one thing he really wants to do before the playoffs is get RJ Harvey more involved. That just makes me feel even a little bit better about that one. I also think there's some chance that even though it's a tough game on paper, I think there's an outside chance they could just wipe the floor with Jacksonville. And if that happens, I think that Harvey will have a lot to do with it. Breece Hall is another one I'm getting double-digit ownership of. I do not go for the Aaron Jones thing because if it was Aaron Jones, it may as well be Jordan Mason to me. I don't see the major difference, and I don't think I want to marry myself to that play personally. I don't mind Sheets' call on Pollard. I also think the one that is overpriced and all this stuff, but has the best game script and nobody is going to play because he's questionable. We don't even know if he's going to play. Give me some Woody Marks.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I
chalk bust last week, huh?
But we're gonna have plays in the afternoon. Isn't he the pivot? And also he busted. He didn't even. He scored 10 fantasy points in one quarter. Got hurt.
I know. He got hurt. Yeah.
What's he supposed to do? Yeah. But against the Raiders, who have an 11.5 or 12.5 total, I think you could sort of just say, you know what? Why are we playing this CJ Stroud when we can play Woody Marks instead? I think it's kind of interesting. So those are the main ones. There's sprinklings of other guys for me. But those are the ones I have. Oh, Michael Carter's the other one I have in the afternoon. But again, all these afternoon guys are just going to sort of, I'm going to make a decision on those guys later today. I'm not going to make a decision on that one right now. All right, we will start off wide receivers with you, Sheets. And this is it seems like it's a little bit spread out-ish today. What are you getting at wide receiver?
So first of all, the sort of obvious. First of all, the what's his name? Drake London is in now, I think.
Yep.
He seems kind of okay. I'm not really getting him right now. I got to probably rerun this. But the obvious plays, I mean, quite honestly, are going to be St. Brown. Seems to make a lot of sense. Perfect game environment. I'm going to be getting him, and you play him without Gibbs. By the way, you could sort of that's a way to get a little different. You know what I mean? Not that people are going to play him with Gibbs all the time, but at least get off Gibbs a little bit. So I think it's going to be like super chalky. So I do like St. Brown. I like I'll just go in no picture order. The cheapos I'm getting are the Keenan Allen and the Xavier Worthy. And again, those are not particularly earth-shattering either. People are going to be playing them. Let me see. Who else do I have as far as stacks go? Oh, this is what I want to ask you. I wanted to ask you about this Arizona game. Okay. So you have, I know you don't like talking about or even thinking about Marvin Harrison Jr., right, Bobby? But he is playing.
Yeah.
But the question is, how much is he going to play? There's some weird coach speak that like either going to ease him into it. It's week 16. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do that, just don't play him, you know, or play him. So like if he's in, that kind of impacts like what's his name, Michael Wilson. Maybe doesn't make him too playable. But and now I have my exposures up here. I was wondering what I was missing. The guy I'm getting the most of is the DJ Metcalf right now. I mean, it's just again too cheap. They're going to be passing the ball. They're in good weather. I mean, good games get pretty much everything that you want. Okay, then we'll go right back to Christian Olave every freaking week. Okay, in that Saints game, and Jamar Chase 20%, getting that. On FanDuel, for some reason, more than DraftKings, God knows why, but that's where I'm getting like more of the Jameson Williams. So FanDuel, more Jameson Williams, and those are, I guess, my top wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Jameson Williams over there as well. It's partly the price. I'm always a little worried about Jameson as chalk. You know, I always point out that we play him when no one plays him, and it's really no different of a play than when he's chalk. I don't see it, you know, unless St. Brown is out, which he's not. It is, you know, very Detroit heavy for me. I do have Amon-Ra and Williams pretty high. Jamar Chase is the highest owned one I have right now. I'm actually considering maybe playing more T. Higgins in that game. I think that's actually like no one's doing it, and people think he shouldn't be playing, and just the fact that he's going to be completely unowned, and wouldn't be surprised to look up and see him have 27 points. But the guys who have the most overweight, I like Justin. I'll bite on the price. I'll take it. You know, I don't really care. I'm going to play Justin Jefferson at 6K. It pairs with McCarthy. Also, I like Addison in that game at like no ownership. But the guy who I'm most overweight the field, I've got 25% of, and is projected to be around 7%, is Adonai Mitchell. I know it's different quarterback, but look, why am I afraid of New Orleans? I like the game already from the other side. Why can't I play Adonai Mitchell at 4,500, who we already know has a ceiling, and he's not going to be owned? I think that's the one I'm sort of want to say the highest on. I'm not sure why Keenan Allen's projecting so well. And by the way, I'm fine with Keenan Allen today, but like it doesn't quite make sense to me why he's projected so well. Anyway, I am getting to some of him. I like all the Chargers receivers. I'm overweight all of those guys. Getting to like 15% of Xavier Worthy, which I feel very mixed about, but maybe I can pair him with my Minshew. Nico Collins, Chris Olave, and the one I thought I'd be getting a ton of because I kept trying to add, maybe I'm getting him in the flex. Yeah, I am. I really like, no, I'm not in the flex. I'm just not getting enough of it. I really like Mike Evans. And I don't think it should be, I think he's being under projected by most sites, not necessarily by Goldie or Sheets. And he's projected to be 5% owned. He's killed Carolina. This is a huge game. Baker always looks for him. I think it would be smart to get at least double the field on the 6% or 5% or whatever he's going to be. If you think he's going to be 8, get 16. I really think Mike Evans has a chance to break the slate today. So he's one that I'm very, very high on. All right, we will move over to tight end, and we will have Sheets start.
Yeah, I didn't do receiver.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I'm on the same stuff. I'm actually getting a lot of Jameson Williams on DK in the flex. If you look at it, he's actually, that makes him the highest owned receiver I got. I was surprised to see that. I'm not getting a lot of Nico. I'm getting a little more Tet McMillan and Jalen Coker in that game a little bit as a value play. I'm not sure why as much. Adonai Mitchell, I'm getting a lot of. Ladd, I'm getting more than Keenan Allen. So yeah, I'm only getting like 9% of Keenan Allen. A little bit of Pickens, a little bit of T. Higgins in there. Drake London around that 6-7%. Pat Bryant's another cheap guy you can use in the Denver game. I don't mind that. We don't have a lot of value guys today. I don't really feel like so. Like the 4K guys, like a Donnie Mitchell, like at 4,500 seems good. Worthy at 4,400. Hollywood Brown's a guy that I need for best ball purposes, but I did put him in over Xavier Worthy in my Minshew stack that I hand built. So I'm just trying to wish that into a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And Drake London, he's a good return for me too this week. Hopefully he's getting put up some big numbers like he was before he got hurt. So that'll be good. But I'm not getting a lot of him. And Chris Olave, same as you guys. So basically pretty much the same stuff. So
it doesn't matter as much today, but I do think it's an important thing for how you build lineups. Like I think that if you think Drake London, like you set a min for him, because his projection, like on SaberSim, and I think across the board, is still like a point or two lower than it should be because the questionable tag and because he's been out. And I think that once he's announced active, it'll go up to that extra point or two. So the play that looks like we got to play this guy, that they'd be giving you all of them. And those 1 or 2 points make a huge difference, by the way, as everybody, if you've played around with projections before, they make all the difference in the world. So
and if you have our SaberSim package, you look, Sheets has them higher than SaberSim. So if you have the 3 comparison, or Goldie's is 2 lower, and then Sheets is 16, and Goldie's 14, and SaberSim is 15. Sheets is already factoring him a little bit better, in regards to that, higher point total.
Yeah, for sure. I also I'll start off tight end because the strangest thing is coming to fruition here. And okay, for one thing, I don't understand in the Saints game. So we're just going to decide, okay, that there's no way they're going to run the ball with Estime. Is that sort of what we've come to? They only have 2 running backs, which is why Taysom Hill is projecting so well. SaberSim gave me Taysom Hill as the highest owned guy. I'm now going to lower the projection. I am not sure they're going to use him in that role. I think it's possible. He is 2,500. He allows you to get double spend ups and things like that, but it feels thin to me, just to be honest. Like, however, the fact that he's low owned, like I'm not saying don't get the 3 or 4% of him. If SaberSim has got him like projected 2 full points higher than Sheets and Goldie, I think it's a little ambitious, and it's a morning game, so I'm going to have to bump him down. But I still would like to get like 3 or 4%. I just don't want the 20% that SaberSim is giving me. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why he's that, except for that he's actually 2.5 points higher than Sheets, I believe, on SaberSim. So I'll have to rerun my stuff, but he currently showed up for me a lot. I know I'm going to be trying to spend down mostly. Harold Fannin is the chalk that I like. TJ Hawkinson has not been great, but again, he fits into with my Minnesota plans. Also, he's 3K. Juwan Johnson, I like a ton to pair with Shuck and Olave. Very strange to have 2 tight ends. Like 40% of my lineups are like between Taysom Hill and Juwan Johnson on the same team.
Yeah,
I know they're different types of tight ends, but still. I am forcing in about 10% of McBride just because we know the ceiling is unmatched. And I am going to get to some Kyle Pitts, even if Drake London plays. Gadsden is the only other one that I have near 10%. I am not doing the Kelsey thing today. When he's back home, I think I will do it. He's probably only got 3 games left as a Chief. I just don't feel great about it. And if I did, it would only want to be, I'd probably want it in like Minshew stacks. The fact that Kelsey's going to be popular I don't know what we're expecting. Like you could tell me he has a good game, but if you told me he was going to be 3%, I'd say, let's get like 15% of them, 20% of them, whatever. If you tell me he's going to be 18%, go the other way. That's where I'm at. Sheets, where are you? And then we'll get to Rohde.
Yeah, my top owned guy is someone no one's mentioned yet. I have like 30% Dalton Schultz. So there's that. I do have 22% Juwan Johnson. You mentioned that. I have 17% McBride. It's funny. I'm not getting Fanning in my Millie Maker stuff, but I like him in my big buy-in. So I don't know exactly what to make of that. Other guys I'm getting some of are Brendan Strange from Jacksonville. And I am getting 10% Taysom Hill, but I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something feels fishy about that play being popular. I mean, Sabres, I don't know if they're going to. I mean, they only got him projected at 5% or whatever, but I don't know, man. Something about this projection. Well, their projection currently, I just can't quite go with. And by the way, it's taking away from Estime, and we should go back. I just want to revisit that really quick before you go, Rohde. That does concern me a little bit because I think that's why Estime is not projecting better. He basically, I mean, they're going to give Hull maybe some carries, but nobody's playing a guy who against they're as a big favorite against the Jets. Is this a mistake that we're not playing Estime and maybe going that route? I think it might be. Sheets, what do you think about that?
Well, I was going to even mention another guy from the Saints. I was going to mention the other wide receiver, the Tipton. So
I'm talking about running back. They don't have any running backs.
They don't run the ball. I mean, it's
no, but well, I mean, we were playing what's his name at 30% ownership.
The backup running back's getting a high projection too. Maybe that's factoring in.
So we're just treating it like Evan Hull and Estime are going to split things.
Split carries, yeah, basically 50-50.
All right, well, we'll
taking
see.
the edge.
I'll take my shots with Estime. I don't think I can get to the Hull. Let me just take a quick look because that might matter for morning slate and whatnot. I don't see him projected. Yeah, he's got a decent projection ish. Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, sorry. Go ahead, Rohde. Talk about your tight ends.
Did Sheets finish? Is he good or?
Yeah, I'm good with the tight ends. It's Dalton Schultz. Then Juwan Johnson, McBride, Strange, and Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I'm pretty much similar. I mean, Juwan Johnson's like my top guy, but it's pretty spread out. I have Schultz right there behind him. The Taysom Hill's a little worrisome right there. He's a little high, then Fannin. Maybe a little Jake Ferguson. I don't mind that Dallas game. He's at 4,400. I'm kind of liking that Chargers Dallas game a little bit more. And then maybe Gadsden in that same game. I'm waiting for him to have another breakout game again. I like his tight end too in that game. So pretty much the same guys, and then a little McBride and Evan Ingram, a little rounded out. Evan Ingram's cheap, but he's not got a lot of usage, but he's cheap. That game could be a little more shootout than we think. So,
all right, I think that Evan Ingram is always the one that I want to play.
I know,
and maybe this is the time though, because he's gonna have he's got the. I mean, he's talented. Nobody's playing him. By the way, nobody's playing Darren Waller either, which is a little interesting. We just saw the guy, the new quarterback, and we just saw him go off on, the other night. That's just interesting to me. Yeah, tight end is. We've had some strong tight ends weeks. This does not feel like one of them to me, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I agree. It's not feeling strong.
No, it doesn't feel like a 3 tight end week. Rohde, what are you getting to at defenses? And then we'll let Sheets give his.
Defense, the favorite one to target. It looks like Giants I'm getting a lot of, and the Saberson build probably have to lower that. They're over the 20% we like. I'm getting about 25% of them. Browns at 13%, which I do like the Browns at 2,200. And then the Titans at 2,500. Those are like the 2 cheap defenses I do like to use today. It's cold in that Buffalo game. The Cleveland's defense has actually been pretty good. I know it's Josh Allen, but I like them. And Houston's the spend up. You kind of got to like with Vegas having a very bad total in this game, and they're 4K, but they're pricey, but they're the good spend up. So good to get a mix of the cheap ones with the spend ups. I like that a lot. And the Saints a little bit in there too at 3,400. I don't mind. So then I'll let you guys go. Those are pretty much my main 5, 6.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sheets, what are you getting to?
Pretty much exact guys. So in order, I had Texans, Giants, Jets, Saints, and Titans. I mean, literally the exact teams he mentioned, and then the Browns were the next. So I think that he mentioned 6 teams, and those are literally the 6 highest owned teams. So that's what I have.
I too like the Browns. And they're the cheap one. Them in Tennessee as the cheap ones. Yep. The mid tier. And the Giants, and then the mid tier. I feel like the Saints, mid to uppish tier. Saints and Broncos, and then the Texans are the spend all the way up. Also to be considered, I think are Falcons, Bengals, Chargers. Those are my other lower ones. But I actually don't even think I'm going to get 15% of any defenses today. So. Again, if I had to flag plant one of them, it probably would be Tennessee. I actually thought they'd be a little more popular, but I kind of think that Browns one is at low ownership. And I love Josh Allen, and even if they score points, it's still a good Browns defense. There's going to be sacks. Myles Garrett will probably break the sack record today.
Yeah, that's a big record he's got going. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just something to look at. But I will do some hot takes, and then we will go to Sheets for his. These aren't going to be necessarily super hot. But I guess it kind of is, because I'm saying Adonai Mitchell and the double Williams, Javonte and Jameson, all on the winning millionaire lineup. All 3.
I gotta stack that one today right off the rip.
That's just going to happen and by the way, if it happens and I don't have any of it, you have the right to rip me apart. You can at me all you want. I blew it because I love those plays. All right, go ahead, Sheets, and then we'll have Rohde finish up and take us out of here if there's nothing else.
It's funny that you mention all that because like right now, like I have the Adonai Mitchell and Jamison Williams in my big buy-in on FanDuel. So
okay. You're guaranteed to win $1 million. Why don't you do it? Or whatever.
Yeah, so I'll go back to Tennessee. Pollard, Cam Ward, all that stuff.
Oh, that's a great stack. There you go.
Yeah, and I'll lose. But obviously, it's the same every week. So the Saints game will be on the Millie Maker, as will the Tennessee game.
Okay. All right. There we go.
You sure you don't have any Geno this week? They say they're going to stick with him this week.
I don't even know if he's playing. He's playing?
I think
there's
so.
some coach speak about they're going to ride with Geno in week 16 here or something, right?
Terrific.
I don't know. Maybe they bench him again.
I bet, you know what's crazy, though? That game is like the Raiders are going to be in that game. I know it sounds nuts. I don't know how it's going to happen, but something weird is going to happen. The Raiders are going to be in the game. Anyway, go ahead.
I know Cardi still likes Genty. Just keep piling.
Yeah, Genty's popping a little bit.
He'll get the dump offs.
Yeah, for over there. Yeah, I don't think I got much of him.
I am going to make sure whatever. One thing I didn't mention him for tight ends because his ownership is so low. But I hit whatever his minimum was. I think it was like 3 or 4%. Whatever his ownership was, I immediately. Anytime Bowers or McBride is like 3 or 4%, I'm just going to take a stab. You know what I mean? Play them at least at the field, and then see how things shake out.
Yeah, because we didn't mention Bowers at 5,600.
Yeah, it's a terrible, like Houston's a terrible matchup, but at the same time, aren't you going to get the ball to your best player? I don't know.
Okay.
All right, Rohde, take any final thoughts and then take us out of here.
Yeah, not many final thoughts here. I'm just going to go with what I'm getting here, and then maybe make a few adjustments that I want to see. And then we'll roll with it. So, as always, good luck, guys, and let's go.